regular meeting via teleconference for May 4th, 2020. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the
United States of America,
and to
and
the
to the
republic
republic for which it stands,
one
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may all be seated. Plop. All right, roll call. Mr. Mayor, you here?
Dane Zincan, Iron City Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Nelson,
Here.
Mr. Rubinowski,
Here.
Miss Zoli,
Here,
Miss
Parenti,
yes, I'm all I could see is iPad, and I knew that wasn't it. Miss Parenti.
Miss iPad.
Okay, and I see Mrs. Stottlemeyer's here.
Every month you get my name wrong.
That's right. I don't know where Stottlemeyer come from, but Stotler.
I don't know. I think you've called me that one before, though.
I have.
Yes, she
It is
has.
Stotler. You must know somebody by that name.
I must. Alex is here from the Butler Eagle, and so is Mr.
Tansky.
Yes, I have to look at him. It says Jake on his thing. And Cindy Caldwell, I'm assuming that's Cindy Caldwell.
Yes.
Okay, and Elizabeth is here. So we have everybody?
I believe so.
All right.
Hey, Mr. Tansky, you're on mute, and I don't think you know it. I saw you moving your lips, but there's no voice.
There you go.
All right.
Somebody got me off?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Do we have any public comments, Madam Secretary?
There was no public comment.
Okay. The things that are in part 4 of our agenda is the discussion item, which is the municipal outreach group, which I think our last meeting was about a week ago. The kind of information that I got was, of course, Tuesday, April 28th, the Butler Fairgrounds was going to have a dispatch for food. And it was on the county website with all the food covered. So that is on the county website. The growth collaboration is maintaining agencies on a website. They are a place for grant opportunity, such as restaurants, lodging, main streets, and other kinds of businesses. They spoke a little bit about child abuse, and they sent us out a flyer, which was also going on our website. It is just talking about the fact that all these kids are staying home, and therefore they were worried. That's kind of things. They were collecting games, unused games or brand new ones. 211 has information that can give you some ideas if you need rental help. And they also gave us information on the aging, Department of Aging, with people that are over 60. If they need meals, they have a phone number that's available. They're suggesting that we keep all our expenses should we have anything that can go into PEMA. And the last time they looked, they had 1 or 2 cases of coronavirus in the hospital. Less than half of the hospital is less than half capacity is where the hospital is. They are thinking about opening elective surgery, starting to do some testings, and they're looking at some mitigation processes to do. They also asked us to do a resolution, which is coming up later, on the property taxes. Trying to think what else I have. And they talked about the primary on June 2nd, where they're proceeding as is. They tell you that the mail-in vote is a choice, and they highly recommend it. They are still trying to confirm uses of space for polling, and I know that I told them that we can't use the site we have because it's a senior citizens place.
Mhm.
And so we have occupied the basement of the fire department for that, where they can come in one door and go out the other, and it's big enough and it's heated and all those kind of things. They're going to give everybody a pen so you can take it with you. You're getting a free pen from voting. And I think that's all I've got. They said that the director of elections has left them, and they have 2 ladies that are working, and one is Melissa Harrett, who's doing the office work, and I did not get the name of the lady that's doing most of the work outside, like training and those kind of things. And I guess that was it. United Way's out there for anybody that needs local nonprofit help. That's basically all I have for that. Where it goes, resources for residents, everything I've gotten, I've given to Beth to put on the website. If anybody else gets something that has not gone to the masses of us, please make sure she gets it. The website is under construction, but there is some of it up, and she'll be rearranging it and putting it, but we have a whole section that is COVID-19 right on it. Mandatory masks. I don't know exactly what that one is about, except that we have to wear them whenever we're out and we're shopping, unless you have a medical excuse for not doing it. And there was just a thing on the news before I came over talking about that, because the man had a medical excuse, but he was also told that he needed to leave because he was creating a scene. I'll let Cindy talk a little bit about EDCO and the park opening, and I'll just do the last one, Cindy, so it's done. There was some discussion of possibly doing a rotation of department reports. This should probably go into our, such as Mr. Tansky coming, such as streets coming, such as another group that's outside of us 5, and just do it on a quarterly report and have everybody come, you know, once a quarter, which would be like January, February, March, and then we're ready to start over. Think some on that instead of having them, you know, they can deliver a report, but I don't think they have to come in and give one each time, because it's just taking up time, and then they sit there basically for the rest of the meeting. Okay, Cindy, I'll leave it to you for yours.
Okay, I don't know. Diana, did you want to go over that memorandum you made, or?
Yeah, I was thinking that would be on the discussion, and you would do the report from the park.
Okay.
Okay. So I put together. I've been thinking about the park and how they can move forward in the most cost-effective and socially responsible way, of course. That there are a number of points on the. Do you have in front of you, all of you, the report?
Yeah, and it's on the screen.
The memo that I gave to you? Okay. Then I don't have to read the whole thing, right?
No.
But it has, you know, there are 7 salient points to be made. And the first of which is that we do have, and the most important, the declaration of emergency. But the Community Development Block Grant can't really fund any help for the pool. The pool has a certain amount of money. There are a lot of issues that come up for the pool in this situation. And the final thing, number 7 there, is the one that's, I think, most important for us. According to the County Office of Economic Development, $150 billion allocated to by the federal government goes to municipalities of over 500,000. I'm told by, of course, the county that this whole county doesn't constitute 500,000, but they are working to look at ways to get some of that funding. The park has probably 3 options in terms of opening: treating the pool and opening, treating the pool for the entire summer as usual without opening, and treating the pool and covering it using fewer chemicals. There haven't been, I've discussed those options, and the park authority hasn't decided what they're going to do. except that we come up against information from our insurer, which says that there are a number of questions that the providers, insurance providers, will ask if the pool intends to open. So all of these extra questions need to be addressed by the pool authority before they decide to open. But, and there's at the bottom, I talk about Dr. Fauci, and he's saying it's reasonable to assume that chlorine may mitigate the virus, but there's no evidence that it does. Then, according to Elizabeth Howard, I talked to her again today, there is no further information from providers. They still need details to know how anything about coverage and restrictions. And finally, and this is probably the most important for us, Mark Gordon tells me that as of last week, the governor had, and we all know this if we've been looking at the website for the county, had not changed our status from red to orange. Some other counties have been changed from red to orange. We have not. And until the county, until the county is at green, pools cannot open. So it looks like we're looking at July. That's all I have on that. And Beth, do we not have a topic for the utility lines and the discussion on April 29th?
Or what?
The only other piece of information I have is the meeting from April 29th.
Yes. Let me share that. It is right. Here it is. There you go. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that for the pool?
No. Do you want to say something about that, or do you want to wait till the report, to your report, Cindy?
Oh, I guess I can wait for the report.
Okay. All right. If that's all right with everyone.
Fine, keep going.
Okay.
Oh, this is about PennDOT.
Yeah. Yeah. Last October, PennDOT announced that it was going to be paving 68 within the next 3 to 5 years. Since working with the municipal cooperative, I found that we do in fact have a comprehensive plan for Evans City. Yay, Terry Capella. It was written in 1996, and many of the recommendations made are still relevant today. And one of these is to upgrade and replace the water and sewer lines in the commercial area. Well, our comprehensive plan includes a discussion of all of that too. And third, when Cherry and I called the meeting of downtown business owners in February of last year, 60 people showed up. So there is enthusiasm for downtown economic development and revitalization. But of course, when we talked about money, only 30 showed up for the next meeting. So I think people want us to look like we have skin in the game if we're going to move forward with this. They, among other things, they want to see that the borough is moving forward positively, and then they'll take a more active interest. But and then I just mentioned Cherry and I have wanted Stacy to use SurveyMonkey to gain input from residents, which I think could be a part of this. But I don't think residents are going to kind of off the cuff say that they want us to fix the infrastructure. So nonetheless, it's up to us as good stewards of their money, their taxes, to begin to work with HRG to do something roughly based on the comprehensive plan in cooperation with the County Economic Development Office, or in cooperation also with other entities in the borough to accomplish these tasks before PennDOT repaves. After which time we will incur greater debt because we will be disrupting the work they've already done. So we've got this time frame within the next, I would argue within the next 3 years, because we want to make sure we get it done before they do anything to 68. They'll do our curbs, that kind of thing, if we press them. So if we can put this plan together in the short run, we also will be looking at the possibility of regaining our school, because as Jerry Andre told me at a meeting a couple months ago, that's what Seneca Valley School District will want to see: a full-blown, comprehensive revitalization economic development plan that includes infrastructure, everything from infrastructure to bike paths to beautifying the streets and that kind of thing. So the kind of work we'll be doing mixed with amenities that are attractive will bring new business to Evans City, we're hoping. So I'd like the council to consider approving the development of a plan that would entail creating multifaceted program, as I just mentioned. The grant writing loan application will be something I'm willing to work closely with G and Mark Gordon to accomplish. Coming back each step of the way to council for approval and ideas. So, and this last piece I think is critically important for us as a community. My idea for the line repair and replacement work on Main Street would be that, well, first, Evans City Water and Sewer Authority is involved in a $1.9 million project right now. And they've had to increase rates, water rates for citizens, $70 a quarter in order to do that. So Ed tells me, when I talked to Ed, he said they're strapped well into the next 6 years. So what I'm asking is, where's the boundary between, you know, taking care of our citizens and designating responsibility to separate entities? So we have to take some responsibility for the infrastructure. If we get grants and loans, we might be able to do this. And if we put it off on Evans City Water and Sewer Authority, we'll force them to increase water and sewer rates again. So let's look at it this way. Since we want to concern ourselves with the residents and business owners' future, I'm hoping we can talk to the Water Authority, or talk about the Water Authority signing an agreement saying that the borough will bear the upfront costs, and in 6 years, Evans City Water Sewer Authority will repay their portion as a percentage of the costs. We could work closely and either co-sign everything or note the portions that are relevant to each entity. So, and as Beth told me, grant programs tend to look more favorably on applicants that are working with other agencies and departments, even within their own borough. So we could include the volunteer fire department in a petition for a grant, because they will benefit, because it will possibly improve water lines to the sewers, that kind of thing. So cross-department work would be helpful to our application. And if we wait too long, we've really got a problem. So finally, just very quickly, if we apply for, and I'm just throwing numbers out here, they mean nothing. They're just numbers so we can see what we're saying. If we apply for a grant through H2O, which is a program that Nick Merkath gave me to look at, that would include, you know, any grant that we have would include 10% of that total, as long as it didn't go over that, for engineer fees, so they would be paid. If we borrowed from them, or got a grant from them for $4 million, say, we could apply to Penvest for 50% of the matching funds. Then what we would owe would only be 50% of that. So, and if we did that, if Penvest is willing to pay the 50%, then we could float a bond to spread the cost over 20, 25 years. So it just seems to me that would make great sense. The purchase of bond issues could be very attractive, particularly to investors within our municipality. They could be exempt from federal, state, and local taxes for the amounts that they that they have spent on this. And so all of those things being equal, I think that now is probably a window of opportunity to accomplish this work. Now, just a word of warning, bond values have tanked. So bonds were paying 3.7% in early March, and by the middle of March or end of March, they were at minus 1.3. But
You're so far, Diana, you're so far from needing to worry about the bond rates.
I'm just
I
saying,
don't-
that was my point, Neva.
Yes, like it's just.
We don't have to worry about that right now. That's going to be, that'll probably turn around from what I'm reading. That'll probably turn around by mid-year.
Or later. Okay. So this is something that, if I understand you correctly, we need to read more on this whole piece of information that you've given us. And then we can have a talk about it in our agenda meeting in May and possibly June. It might take us that long to get through it, but get moving.
Okay, what I'm saying is, I would like us just to say, okay, we'll think about this. This is something that we'll need to decide at a future date, but if I might ask that I can move forward with discussions on the subject, I would really appreciate that, because John Azona and Laura Ludwig and Mark Gordon and I are meeting, tele-meeting.
I personally do not have a problem with you continuing to gather information that helps this. I think that's a smart move, to just keep gathering information, and then we can put it even more together in whatever type of a file that you have, that you set it up for us, that we see we've got this, we're really moving on, we're clear down to step 7. I don't have a problem with it. Does anybody else have a problem with Diana continuing on with gathering information?
No, because-
I do not have a problem.
Okay.
Nope.
Not at all.
Brad said no.
No problem.
How about you, Norm?
I have no problem with it.
Bingo, Diana, it's all yours. Keep gathering
Yay,
information.
work! I get to work.
Yes, you do. That's fine. Is Mr. Tansky still on the line?
I am.
Do you have a copy of the comprehensive plan that Gary Capella put together?
I do.
Okay, just making sure you had a copy so you know what we're having and we're talking about.
I'm very aware of it. I've been involved in a few of the discussions. Off the record, the SOAR Authority hasn't met on this yet, but it's just had some, just some discussion between ourselves on it, and we have some ideas, but nothing's been cut in stone or discussed in public meetings. So,
Okay.
there's a lot to go yet.
It sounds like it's going to get more and more complicated, but that's okay. I think we can handle it with the kind of people we got here working for us. But I just want to make sure you had that.
I do.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Diana?
That's it for me.
Okay.
Finally, we will be applying for the park. I'm going back to the park. I'm sorry. We
Okay.
will be applying, and I am virtually certain we'll be able to get some sort of compensation for the park, whatever they decide to do.
I tend to agree with that, because we're not the only one in this boat, not boat, all pools are in this boat. Ours,
Yeah.
just because we're little, makes it a little more outstanding for us, and we don't have the tax dollars to help with,
Yeah.
defray some of those costs. But I agree with you.
Okay.
All right. Okay, Cindy,
Yes.
you ready?
Yep. You want to report now?
Let me see.
Um,
Come out well. And then if you want to go, you can.
Okay, I did not see in the packet the report I sent you, Sherry. So I'll just go over this real quick. On March 24th, the Park Authority locked the fences down at the park because at this time we feel that we could not control people on the equipment or have a way to clean it or the pavilions. So it is locked down, and I assume we'll keep it locked down until we know exactly how to proceed.
Okay.
I did have a phone conversation and have been on many, as with COVID, as many people know what's going on, and sit in meetings, and it has all been up in the air because nobody's sure. So at this point, the Park Authority isn't sure whether we would open or not this year.
Mhm.
Diana had touched on some of the things that there are some challenges with certifications, but they did just lift the hiring ban, Act 47. So that's something that's really good, that we're going to have a 45-day grace period for people who don't have their FBI clearances or their fingerprinting. So that was something good that came out for all people who need their child clearances. The other thing is that I put together is we will be preparing the pool. We've talked to a lot of people and the contractors and stuff, and the best course of action is to drain the pool. We're going to power wash it, so hopefully we can get our water on next week or the week after, and I'll keep touch with water and sewer on that. And if my calculations are correct, whether we open or not, it's going to cost us approximately $17,000 to operate the pool throughout the summer. And we're looking at like $4,000 in chemicals, $7,000 in electric to run those pumps, but I think we might be shutting them off at night. I think we'll be okay with that. So after talking to some people, that'll save us some money.
Speak to your
Cindy,
speak to your pool engineer, because on high rate sand filters, when you get them done, they cake. They get hard as a rock at the bottom. So you want to make sure that your pool people tell you that it's safe to close those down, because you don't want to be inside those tanks with a jackhammer.
Thank you.
and
So
Cindy, are you including that 7 and 11 in the 17, or is that in addition to?
no, that's, I think for the whole summer, it'll cost us around
17,000.
17,000.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll have probably 2,000 miscellaneous and 4,000 open, close, and do that kind of stuff. So regardless of whether we open or not, but we have been approached in some other ways to raise some funds. So we're looking at that right now. One involves using the water, and one involves using the parking lot. So we're looking into that. We're still trying to get the topsoil and some of the projects that needed done before we open this year. We're still looking to do some of those. And we're looking into a pool cover. At this time, we're still contemplating that and seeing how much it would cost, if that would reduce chemical use for the summer. But in no way is there an option not to do anything. So, and there's a lot of discussion out there as to how to open, if we can open. So we're proceeding cautiously. And that's all I have, unless you have questions.
Cindy,
Yes.
I have a question for you. Everything I'm hearing about the park, about everything that's going on, because you have to run the park, because you have to have water in the park, and you're going to have to filter it, you're going to have to maintain it, and it's going to cost like 17 grand. I don't know how many gallons of water you need to have in the pool. Like through the winter, it wasn't full, right?
No, but the plaster requires it to be wet. So that means it has to be up over the zero entry.
Okay. My question is, I don't know how many gallons it would take to fill your pool, but if you filled it and drained it monthly without putting any chemicals, without running any pumps or doing anything, just pump it up, refill it for another month, and do that for like 4 months. You only have to pay for the water.
Yeah, but I think the pumps need to run just to, so they don't.
You're not running them in the wintertime.
No, but they're saying the gaskets, and they were talking a lot about the gaskets, the internal. You just heard Ed talk about the
Sand filter.
The filters, but I'm just
sand
saying,
and the filter.
what do you
which I
do in the fall and in the wintertime? You're not running it.
Right.
You know, you're not running
And
pumps.
how much would it cost to fill it that many times?
You're
I
looking
think
at 4
Cindy and I
times.
looked at that, and it's like $18,000 to fill it each time.
Well, you're not paying $10 a thousand like we are you're paying for water, not sewage. The sewer bill, that's why our bills are high, because of the sewage, because of the plant and everything that was built. You're only paying for water. I don't know exactly what you're in charge, Ed, for water per thousand.
Well, we hadn't been charging anything for the initial fill, and then
No, I understand it. I'm just a number. Just say what we're paying right now, just for water, not sewage. What is it per 1,000 gallon?
I don't want to quote it because I'm not absolutely sure what.
I understand that, but you're still probably looking at $4 or $5 a thousand.
I would think so. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you're not paying that full. Letting them know you're not paying that full amount for sewage, because you're not putting in the water in the sewer.
Well,
so to fill the pool monthly might be cheaper than doing everything else. I'm just throwing it out there. That's all.
yeah.
Yeah, we did talk about that a bit, Cindy, but
Yeah, and when it came down to talking to the pool people who were saying that the lubrication through the filter, they thought that needed that. And I don't know what that would look like, how quick you're going to get algae if you're not putting anything in it. How good that is for the surface.
Well, even if you threw chlorine pucks in it.
Yeah.
You know, we've done that before. You know that.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's just something I'm throwing out there to look and just try to help, because I mean, I know what you're saying about you. I know that we had filters at the water plant. We had to do all that stuff, but you don't run it fall, winter, and spring. You only run it in the summer.
Right.
You know, so I don't understand. If you're worried about the seals and everything else, it should be run through the winter then too, in spring. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just throwing it out there just to try to help out a little bit, see if we can save money.
No, but I'll go back and ask.
Yeah, it won't hurt to ask.
Mhm.
You were talking about water contamination without filtration. A lot's going to depend on what your ambient temperatures are, how cool your evenings get, so forth, because that'll change.
That's correct.
The rate of what your algae buildup will be. Notoriously, my pool, I can't go much more than 5 to 7 days without treating it for algae during the summer months.
But chlorine pucks you could throw in there, you could control it monthly that way. I believe you could. We did it before there.
Yeah, you could, but you'd probably, the size of that pool, you'd probably be dumping $70 to $100 worth of chlorine a month.
But wouldn't it be less without people in it?
No, you still have to maintain a chlorine level to maintain an algae level.
Okay. Okay.
So you don't get growth in the pool.
Mhm.
Right.
But that still may be less than with people in it.
Oh yeah, much less.
Yeah.
Much less.
I
Thank
mean,
you.
yeah.
So what about other factors and how that water affects Ed might know better than me, the other factors of the pool water that's sit in the winter. We wouldn't have a calcium buildup, and I'm not sure how that all affects plaster, but I can go back and ask.
Well, yeah, that's one of the questions you're going to have to ask. Plus the fact that in the winter time, your water probably, because it's just below ground level, is staying right near the freezing level. So all your chemicals and stuff in the water become inert and they stand still. Once you start getting the water temperatures up into the 50 to 60 degree range, then everything goes crazy. You know, you gotta have a close eye on it. You don't want to throw a cover on it where you can't see it, because you have to get in there and check it daily.
Yeah. And I know now, even, those few warm days and then it gets cold, it's ready. I mean, we need to get it out, get it power washed. We
Right.
can already see, I can see the algae growth.
Right.
So, and we haven't even had warm days. And I don't want to dump any chemical at it now.
No, no, if
So-
you dump the chemicals to it now, you'll end up with purple water.
Yeah,
But again, you want to check with your pool expert on the plaster also, because if you start getting an algae buildup in that plaster seaming, you may never get it out.
yeah. And he did
Okay.
recommend that we drain it and power wash it this year and fill it and run it because we've only had it open one season. And I think that was a lot of it too. So you were opening it, trying to work the kinks for the first year it was open to see what was going on with the system and how it was going to react. So I think that's more where they were geared towards us, making sure everything is properly running, year 2, and then we get
Right.
into this mess. So
Mhm.
probably in the long run, to not have any problems, it would be to our advantage to treat the water, run the pumps, see how that looks.
Norm, to answer your question on the why the pumps and the filters are okay during the winter but not the summer months is because whenever you winterize the pool in winter time, the tanks for the sand filters are drained, and basically they'll go sort of dry out. But when you have them sitting with a ton of water on them, the weight of the water compresses the sand to the bottom. So you want to,
That makes
Well, I understand that, but I know that if you fill the pool, you're not running your pumps. There's no water in the tanks, in the filters.
No, I understand, but I'm looking
Yeah.
at both sides of it.
Right. I understand. No, mine was just suggesting to look at to maybe help save money for the year.
Right.
That's all.
Right. No, yeah.
Cindy, do you have equipment or Cindy,
Yes.
do you have equipment or material warranties that expire over the next year?
I think the borough would have all those. We don't. So, but I think they run, there are some, and I think they run like a 3-year. Like the plaster, I know had a guarantee. And I think the plaster that we put in the baby pool has a 5-year warranty. And that's why we chose to go with the plaster over the paint.
Yeah, it was something because of its durability and what it does, sustainability.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. But all the warranties would have gone directly into the borough.
Okay, Beth, new job. You get to hunt for warranties.
I didn't find hardly anything about
The pool, you probably won't.
pool. No. I
There's
just
a folder that has to do with all the grants and the money related to the pool. I would assume everything would be in there.
I'll look again. I'll see what I can find.
Okay.
Thank you.
I vaguely remember seeing something like that during one of my right to know requests for the grants, so I think it'll be in there.
Okay.
How about that? Somebody that doesn't even work for us knows that we've got some. Thank you.
Yeah, Alex did look through those folders, so he would know.
Yeah, we dug them out. That's right.
All right. Anything else for Cindy? The other one I have on here for discussion point is the Cycle for Life. This is a bicycle thing that goes through our town, I think in September, but I'm not positive of that. But I know that we have the pool open for it. And because they stop there and get something to drink and go to the bathroom and do all those
Excuse me a second. Beth, is that you
What did I do?
making that squeaky noise?
Probably.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm
Don't
gonna
be squeaking.
my phone's dying already.
Uh-oh, need a plug. Anyhow, the Cycle of Life, I think we still have to wait to see whether or not they're going to allow them to come through, even though it's an outside activity. If they're in a big, large group, which I think they are, they drive sporadically, but they all stop, and that would make them maybe a larger group than what we're allowed to have at any one point in time as to whether or not they can use Evans City as a stop. Just to make you aware of it, that we keep it in the forefront as it gets closer as to whether or not to let them come through here, or if we have to open the pool for them to be able to use the restroom in the park.
Sherry, we have typically, we have the concession and the restroom open for them. So they set up a station in the small pavilion, and then we have the restrooms open. So I don't know, like you said, whether they'll be able to do that, but if we're able to do that, we'll, you know, have
You'll
them
do
there.
it if they're allowed to be able to come through, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's all I have under discussion points. The next ones are official actions. I need a motion to approve the minutes from our regular meeting in March, on March 2nd, and our agenda meeting of March 20th, our special meeting of April 9th, and our agenda meeting of April 16th. They were all in our packet, and I accept a motion as they are written and sent.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay?
But I'd like to ask for minutes from the February agenda setting meeting. I wasn't there, and I never got one.
We
Okay.
didn't really do an awful lot other than discussion of things. I didn't put those all together because I just didn't, but I will.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, because
No
that was like, that was our first one, and we were still, we were trying to figure a lot of, just,
What we're
well, there's just
supposed
a
to
lot of
do.
talking going on.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that was our second one. We had one in January too, didn't we?
No,
No?
No,
no.
I remember us meeting in the community room.
Yeah, that was in February. Because it was after,
February was when we met knees to knees in the copy room. March, we met,
Yeah, she's great.
Remotely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
January we met, we were talking about somebody other than Beth. In
we
January.
didn't know her yet.
We didn't know
Well,
about Beth yet.
that I don't recall that, but that may be. So, where are you? Job 2, find us the agenda meeting ones for January and February.
Gotcha.
All right. So it's been moved and seconded by Norm Nelson and Miss Diana. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion so carried. The next one that's for, again, March 2nd, March 20th, April 9th, and April 16th. Next motion is to pay the expenses for March and April. No, April and May as billed. That's this big, huge thing that she gave us.
I move that we pay the bills for those 2 months.
I see that Vogel's listed twice in the expenses. On the second page, at the very first one says Vogel garbage service, then the very last one says Vogel trash service. Is that, was one supposed to be in another spot, or?
It's probably one for Main Street, and then the rest is for the like here and the Burr Garage.
Okay, because I just see it's the same price, so I wasn't sure if it was just
Yeah,
a double over.
They picked
No,
the containers
it
up on Main Street.
Okay,
Vogel was, the first Vogel was for last month. The second Vogel is for this month.
okay,
Oh, so it's
That's
all
what-
together anyhow. Okay.
Yeah.
all right.
Yep.
It's my understanding that the process is we have a motion, then a second, then discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
So is there a motion?
I moved a few minutes ago.
Okay, it's been moved by Miss Diana, second?
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
Could we have a second and then talk about it?
Sure.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Miss Fay.
I see payroll for April 17th is over $8,000.
That was my payroll was in that one, and also
The bio.
Wilda, the tax collector, her wages came out that time, and also Kevin for February, March, and April.
Oh, okay, because it's double.
It is, yeah. It was a lot.
Okay.
And then I think it won't be this paycheck or pay period. It will probably be the 15th. It'll also be big again because Wilda brought in quite a lot of taxes. So she gets that percentage. It'll be pretty big again. I think the 15th, if not the 29th.
And one other thing I'd like to say with regard to the bills, I have been paying out of pocket because the printer we've been using has been so expensive. So Borough's been paying some, and Faye's been paying some, and I've been paying, so I found someone to do printing. So I'm hoping that the Borough won't have to support us so strenuously, because he's going to do the printing at around 10% of what it has been costing us to do the printing. And the quality of the paper is similar. The quality of the printing is exactly the same.
Now, who's the name of the printer?
The printer that we were using?
Or the new one?
The new one. You know what? He's the guy in hiding on Main Street.
Old library.
Leo somebody. I don't know. He's just this great guy, and he does really good work. So, I mean, I could pay this out of petty cash on my own.
Wow. Good. Why I have you on here, Miss Beth? Not
Yes.
that it difference to me, but in case anybody looks through it, Scander Tire on page 2
Tire. Yes.
under May meeting. It's SKAM.
Oh yeah, it is. I will fix that.
That's fine, just so that, there's some people that like to jump up and down. So, okay, it's been moved and seconded on the,
One more thing.
yes,
I see we're taking union dues.
Yes. We're taking those out of the checks. So the guys are paying those themselves.
Did we vote on that?
That's the way it always was.
Part of the contract.
I thought that was, we were going to vote whether we were going to go with the contract now or renegotiate, or we haven't voted on anything, have we?
when we took on the contract, if I'm understanding that correctly, that is part of it. That is their responsibility. We don't pay any more of it, but because we took the contract back and made the union, they need to pay their portion of the dues. Has nothing to do whether or not we take it or don't. That's part of the union contract.
Yeah, that's what I don't recall voting on, taking the contract back. And
oh, we did. We voted on that.
Well, I guess I'll see that in the minutes then when they get up.
I guess so.
Okay.
And correct. All right, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of paying the expenses for April and May, please say aye.
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 Okay. Those opposed? Motion so carried. Mr. Nelson, do you want to talk about the bids for the street sweeping?
Yes, I brought it up at the mid-meeting, agenda meeting. I had gotten 3 quotes in for sweeping the streets here in Evans City. And municipal contractor was $115 an hour, 4 hours minimum. Golden Equipment was $135 an hour, 4 hour minimum. and William Graham was $132 an hour for 4-hour minimum. Now, through the MS4, where we're going to sweep the streets twice a month. We usually start in April, so we're a little behind, but that'll be okay. But we're going to have to do it twice a month. So we'll have 4 hours each time. So it'll be 8 hours a month. They'll be doing it. And
Is there
we'll
any
be
way
doing
you
it.
can let people know that you're going to be when you're going to be doing it so they can get their cars off the street?
That's
Well,
what it's on Mondays.
Yeah.
It's a Sunday. It's a Monday morning early. They come out Sunday or Monday morning early. They sometimes get out here at 2 in the morning, sometimes 4 in the morning, because the way the vehicles are. But we do have the signs up, but it's up to the police to patrol it and put. When they did it before, when there was a car parked, the sweeper was coming. They put a notice on the car telling them that they got a warning to let them know that it's coming up. But I think we should put it on our website and we should put it out there that we're going to do this. You know, and I mean, I don't know. You could do Swift Alert too, but we don't do all the streets. There's only certain streets we do. So if we did all the streets,
On
it'd
the
take a
Swift
lot
Alert,
longer.
you could refer them to the website. On Swift Alert, you could say, if it applies to you, look at the website to see.
You could do it that way, correct. So, but I have the quotes here that from the street sweeping companies.
Which ones have
So
we used in the past?
I'm sorry.
Who have we used in the past?
I think it was municipal services last year too. I think.
Yes, it was.
We've
Okay.
used Golden a lot over the years too, Norm. Where's municipal located?
Right beside Golden Equipment.
Okay.
They're both in Mars.
And
The other one was I have them here. I wrote them down, but I didn't take them out. The other one was somewhere else. Figure out where it was at. But two in Mars, and the other one was in.
He was farther away.
I'm sorry.
It was farther away. I remember.
Oh yeah, a lot further away.
And they both have they all have comparable equipment?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, municipal's the cheaper.
That's correct, but we got three
Golden
quotes.
Right.
But we're gonna do it. We have to do it twice a month, and they should start this month and go at least till September. Is what we usually did. We usually went from April to the 1st of September, and then I had them come in. Well, not last year, but the year before, they come in to do it after the Oktoberfest, so they could clean up around because of the people leaving trash on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, so I just feel if we're late now, we could start in May and then finish at the end of September.
A lot of people mow their grass out on the street.
No, I know they do. Don't we? Didn't you make an ordinance on that?
Yes, there is an ordinance.
But nobody enforces it.
Faye and I will enforce it. My neighbor, we go walking all the time. My neighbor and on each side mows right to my front sidewalk, and they mow out onto the street. And I don't have the heart to tell them, you can't do that.
I know.
Even if you're mowing my grass.
Believe me, I used to get so mad at people.
Include that in the Swift Alert.
You could do yes.
Okay, then I would accept a motion that we pick who wants which one? Municipal, Golden?
Municipal's the cheapest. I'll make a motion. We hire municipal services from May till the end of September, twice a month.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Nelson and seconded by Ms. Fay that we accept the municipal contractor at $115 per hour, 4-hour minimum, twice a month, for a total of 8 hours. All in favor? Norm?
Aye.
Brad?
Aye.
Diana?
Aye.
Me, aye. Ms. Fay?
Aye.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, and it's all unanimously voted for. All righty, let me see what else. Move to adopt a resolution number 05-2020, and what that is, so everybody else, one more thing in this pile is Diana put together, not Diana, Miss Beth, put together this budget analysis, profit and loss for the quarter. I asked her to do that on a quarterly basis so we know where we're at instead of a monthly one, because I don't think it shows near where we're at. Maybe in September and October, November, we need to maybe do another closer look. But for now, I think if it comes out quarterly, that's more than enough information for us to handle and bear down. All right, resolution. The first one up is Resolution 05-2020 or 2020-05. It's a resolution of the Governing Board of Evans City Borough, Butler County, Pennsylvania, authorizing, empowering, and directing the proper officers of the governing board to appoint a liaison between it and Berkheimer and duly appoint collector of local taxes for the district for the express purpose of sharing confidential tax information with the district for official purposes. Basically, it's asking that we take Beth, and she's going to be the person that is the liaison between Berkheimer and us. Is there any other questions about it? Okay, if not, then I accept a motion that we adopt this resolution appointing Elizabeth Crowley as the Berkheimer contact.
Something.
Well, it's like Mrs. Stottlemyre. I finally figured out where I got that answer.
I move to appoint Beth, the contact to Berkheimer for tax purposes.
And
All
I'll
right.
second.
Okay, first and seconded by Mrs. Zoli and Miss Parenti.
There's no Mrs. Zoli here.
Huh? I said
Miss
Miss Zoli.
Zoli, Miss Zoli.
That's what I said, Miss Zoli.
Just say Diana.
Oh, okay. Miss Diana and Miss Parente. Now let's go for a vote. All in favor, Brad?
Aye.
Diana?
Yeah, aye.
Me, I, Norm?
Yeah, aye.
Faye?
Aye.
Okay. It's unanimous and the motion is carried. The second one I have is a motion to start the process of the Pliget account and to initiate the process of a P card procurement. I don't think I have that one. Do I have it?
I don't.
What it is we're getting ready to start the Pliget account. It's just starting the process. Is what we need to do.
I didn't put anything in the packet.
Okay. So basically we had a brief seminar, I think it was last Monday, on the Pliget account. And what it does, it has 4 or 5 different kinds of cards in it that allows us to use it in several different ways. We can have what they call a ghost card, which means that will only have a number on it and it's used to pay bills instead of checks. So we don't have to do postage. We don't have to do anything with that. We can do a credit card for each one of our employees, or we can do one credit card and they have to come and get it and use it. Help me out, Beth. Anything else that it can be used for?
Just basically purchasing, and it doesn't cost us interest rates because we pay it off every month.
Yes.
If we
And
use
have to
it,
have an- Go
oh,
ahead.
go
I was gonna say we have to have an account with them, correct?
yeah, we have to have an account with them. We'll have to decide how much we want to put into an account, if we want to use them for better interest rates than we have right now. I think that's a better idea. What I'd like to do is to get together with the finance committee and go through our finances and see what we can afford to put away as like savings and stuff, as well as having a little account, like a checking account with them that we could pay bills off with.
Okay.
Right.
So we can, sit back and work on that. She's addressed the finance committee as being the one to get started with it. And did they send you the slideshow?
Yeah, she did. She sent that to me.
Okay.
Did I forget to send that out to everybody?
Good.
Yeah, I guess so. I
Yeah,
know
because
Frank
Diana
did.
was not on that call.
No, she wasn't.
Nor was I.
No, you
Oh,
Nor
were.
was Brad, correct, Brad.
Yes. So, yeah, send it out so that they have a copy of it. I don't even know if the mayor was on it. Were you, Mayor?
No,
No, send him a copy of it as well, just so
Every-
he's aware of what's going on.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So, is there a motion that we start the process in this?
I'll make a motion to start the process to open up a Pliget account.
Okay, second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Mr. Nelson, it's been done by Mr. Rubinosky and seconded by Mr. Nelson. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Brad? Diana?
Aye.
I was
And
drinking.
Faye.
Aye.
All right, so go ahead and you can get started on that one. The next motion is to approve the new borough office hours. Beth had enough time to sit back and look at this. She thought that she'd like to work Monday through Thursday, 8 to 3, except for the first Monday of the month, which would be our meeting, and that would be 1 to 6. And the third Thursday, 9:30 to 3:30 to allow for meetings. She will be off on Fridays unless something else needs to be done and she has not used up her time. She can come in there and do it. I told her not to open the office, just come in and work and do her stuff. That way we don't mess up the office hours for the people in the public.
Well, the Monday 1 to 6, our meetings is at 7. Is she not going to be at the meeting to take minutes?
No, she's going to be I'm sorry.
Tell her, Beth.
No, I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. I was just getting unmuted just so I could step in if I needed to.
No, go ahead.
I would be in the office, but that would give me about an hour to be able to shut the window. People wouldn't really be bothering me, so I could get the room set up and everybody ready for the meeting.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So I would still be working, just not available for the public necessarily. I mean, I probably would, because that's what I do.
But that's
I
her
understand. Thank you for that clarification.
too. Yes.
No
do
problem.
we need, excuse me, do we need her there for the agenda meetings?
She's there on the third Thursday. She's working 9:30 to 3:30 to allow for the meeting. On
Okay, thank you.
I get it. This isn't her hours per se,
Right.
it's office hours. I get
Office
it.
hours.
Okay,
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
Her office hours, she's up to no more than 30 hours a week. And like I said, if she comes in there or something happens and she needs to come in on a Friday, I said, let's not open the office to the public, but we will let her use it to get caught up on her work. That way there's no confusion of, well, she's here this Friday. Why isn't she here every Friday? So that kind of stuff. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the new borough office hours?
I'll make
move
that
to do it.
motion.
Okay, Ms. Fay, I'll second. All in favor, Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Brad,
Aye.
Miss Diana,
Yeah, aye.
I'm an aye, Miss Fay.
Aye.
Okay, motion so carried. Motion. Oh, the other one, we've already discussed, a motion to permit Cycle for Life bike race in September contingent upon compliance with COVID-19 federal, state, and local regulations. Now, Neva, should I pass that now or should I just wait?
No, it's designed so that you can pass it now and it'll still be able to be effectuated when it happens.
Okay. I need a motion to permit the Cycle of Life bike race in September of 2020 to continue on contingent upon the compliance with the then applicable COVID-19 federal, state, and local regulations. I move that we accept that. That'll keep them, whatever the government says, we can fill in otherwise. So I vote to move that we take on that motion. Second.
I'll second
Back.
it.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Diane.
Yeah, right.
Okay, it's been seconded by Miss Diana. Any discussion? No, Mr. Nelson, yay or nay?
Yes.
Mr. Brad,
Yes, aye.
Miss Diana,
Aye.
Miss Fay,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. So it's again a unanimous vote. Last but not least is to pass resolution 2020-06, extending the time for payment of real estate taxes at face value pursuant to, I don't know what that P stands for. 841, April 2020, and the Butler County authorization. Butler County has already approved that on their April 29th meeting. Basically, what they want us to do is say that we agree with it and that we're just taking it to face value. I know that I have spoken to Wilda. She's made aware of it, but we either have to go with it or we, don't, in which case, there's going to be a lot of people, I guess, kind of upset. So be it resolved that the above Evans City Borough desires to likewise extend the payment of local real estate taxes at face value consistent with the state and the county governments. Is there a motion that we accept this resolution?
I'll make the motion. We accept the resolution.
Okay, Mr. Nelson, second.
I'll second it.
Miss Diana seconds it. All in favor? Mr. Brad,
Aye.
Miss Diana,
Aye.
Miss Fay,
Aye.
Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
and myself says aye. So it has been unanimous. So that's all we have in official actions. Mayor, do you have anything to report?
Yes, the video cameras for the police cars have been installed, and I saw a video on them, and everything's working very nicely. So make sure you take all your decals off the cars so they can trace you by a decal, Norman, on that car, get it off of there. And we don't want to get any more trouble. But they are working very, very nicely. I also have been working on a few things about dogs running loose. President Sherry also looked up the ordinance on dogs. All dogs must have a leash and also should be contained. If not, there has been a dog bite in town, and that's what started the whole process of looking up the dog ordinance. We do have that. Hopefully the person that's responsible for the dog and the one that the dog bit can share the costs to that person of that dog bite for tetanus shots and whatever.
Okay. Anything else?
I can't think of anything else offhand. Thank you.
Okay. Miss Stotler, it's your turn. And I know why I call you Stottlemyre.
Why?
Because it was on Monk, and it was the lead detective was Mr. Stottlemyre. And I'm like, why am I calling her that? That's why. I love.
I've never seen that show.
Well, you should watch it. It's pretty funny because he's definitely, obsessive compulsive, and he has to touch every trash can, and he does things kind of weird, and it is.
Oh, great!
Kind of funny.
That's nice.
That's Monk.
Like you, Neva. Just like you, Neva. Yeah, I'm definitely not OCD.
What?
I got maybe other issues, but not that one.
Okay. All right.
So a couple of things. Two things I just have. I think my you have to tell me, but I think my internet has an issue. But so two things. These are just recommendations. I have a lot of clients under a lot of financial stress because taxes aren't coming in, and I wondered if maybe it would make sense on your financials to have a column for last year at this time, because it's the easiest way for you to see if there's any kind of significant differences you guys need to be watching, especially on EIT and parking revenues and things like that. The other thing is, and again, this is just a recommendation, in the event the pool can open, which who knows, right? Nobody knows. I would recommend you do a written plan, contingency plan for how you would open, because I think ultimately when the rubber hits the road, that's going to be a request. And I think, particularly for the insurance carrier, I think we have the time now to sort of get in position and make our case for why it should open or what remediation and contingency measures we can put in place. And again, that's just a recommendation.
Now, do you recommending we do that, or that the pool board does it in conjunction with us?
Well, obviously, I'm recommending that the pool does it in conjunction with the members of council who are involved.
I will stay in close contact with Elizabeth Howard because she has told me she will let me know as soon as they tell her, once they get the providers get the details about pools, they will let her know, she will let me know.
Okay.
And you and Cindy can work on that, Diana, perhaps.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wait to get on top of that because you'll end up getting the information and being behind.
I will write something up and send it to Cindy for approval.
Okay.
Or comment or whatever.
On the issue of the redevelopment or the economic development plan, I think that's a hugely important thing for Evans City. I would say, Diana, that there needs to be a specification drawn up and then some proposals done for that work.
For the work of engineering or planning, that kind of thing?
Well, to come up with an economic development plan, which is the instrument you use to get your grants and to identify who you need. To come up with that plan, you need somebody in your corner to do that.
Right.
My point about that is that that should be a specification, and then you should get an RFP out on that. You can't just have an ad hoc group of people, in other words.
Well,
and you can't just assume that HRG is the right entity for that.
Well, we just have an ad hoc group because this is exploratory at this point.
Yeah, I know, but you get a lot of time under your belt with HRG. They're going to want paid and they're going to want the job. I'm just saying, you should be drawing up the specs and going out for an RFP.
I called HRG today about something and wasn't satisfied that they could give me the answer. So, there are questions.
And it might be more than one person that actually executes the plan, obviously, but you just have specs and a plan. I think it's a phenomenal idea and it's super important. I don't think you need that whole thing for Evans City Borough in order to get the elementary school piece moving. I don't necessarily agree with that, but it's a big, big project.
Well, I think that if we do have a plan in place, and if we've done the whole study trying to get input from the citizens, once we've done our due diligence, I think that Seneca Valley will be hard put not to just allow us to take back the school.
Yeah.
Is not also the gentleman that you want to come and speak to us, Miss Neva?
Yeah, that's what Diana was saying at the beginning, that strategic solutions needs to get back to her. And if they want to put in a proposal, I would say they should. But again, I'm not recommending just using them either. I'm recommending getting specifications together and getting an RFP out so you know what you're getting and what you're asking for and what you need.
Okay, refresh my memory and anybody else what an RFP is.
Request for proposal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I knew it had to be simple, but.
And again, it's not, because it's not legally required like it would be if you were going out for paving or some other service or materials. It's because it's a professional service, but it's just the right thing to do from an accountability and good service standpoint. And because it's a big project. It's a great project, but it's a big one. Last thing I have, unless you guys have any questions for me, well, two things. One is I think we have to keep our eye out as to whether you need to extend your disaster emergency resolution, because I think am I right, Beth? You're good through June? Beth is.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I think we're good through June, right?
Was it June or May?
I thought we made it June, but I need to check on that because
it's still June.
Is it?
June. I think I drafted it for June because of when we But we'll check on that because we need to make sure that we keep that current with what you guys need to do. And I don't think we're going to be set free until after this month, at least.
No, it's May 31st.
Okay, so
Well, do we need to do that now?
you may want to add because remember me telling you, you can always intervene and cut that off early if things open up and you can get back, but it's harder
Right.
to assemble all of you to do a motion. So you might want to do a motion to extend the disaster emergency declaration through the end of June.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, we'll do that before we leave here.
Okay, and then my last thing is Butler County's reached out to me about a petition for a judicial sale of property. This is a public document, so I'm going to tell you where the property is because I think you should all know because it requires me to get involved. So this is Pierce Avenue parcel owned by Robert Geisler. Pierce Avenue parcel owned by Robert Geisler is up for judicial sale. So I have to accept service of that petition, and then I have to essentially, once that occurs, we won't have much, we won't have much skin in the game at that point. But I would need to know if there are liens against that property, Beth, or if there are taxes owed to the borough so that I can account for that during the judicial sale process.
What's
So
that?
this is, go ahead. Heard somebody.
Nope, nothing.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Nothing.
Okay, so if you have any questions about the process, again, I won't have to do the litigation itself. I'm more speaking for the borough and any interest you have on that lot on Pierce Avenue. If you have anything, Beth can get a hold of me. It's not an emergency. The rule to show cause doesn't come in till August. So, but I do have to accept service of the petition. And then I will scan this in to Beth so she can give it to you guys and you'll each have a copy of it. I don't know that you're going to care or be interested in it, but it's, something that you should, you should be aware of.
Okay,
If I might, Beth, you might want to check with Laura and Water and Sewer to make sure we don't have a lien on that property because I was thinking there was some financial problems with Water and Sewer on that.
Okay, we
Usually
should
that's what
definitely,
happens, right?
yeah, we should definitely know that too,
Okay.
if there's any water and sewer outstanding. That, I think that's all I have for you guys if, unless you have questions for me.
anybody have any more questions? Okay, I don't have much more for my report. I did receive a watershed restoration and protection program from the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, Office of Business Financing, and it came from the Keystone Building in Harrisburg. The reference is a letter of support for Adams Township and Valencia Borough MS4 Stream Floodplain Restoration Project along Breakneck Creek. And then it says Breakneck Creek is listed as an impaired stream for siltation all the way from its headwaters to the confluence with the Connequenessing Creek and has threatened many of the downstream municipalities in recent years. The frequency and intensity of flooding events has increased far above acceptable levels, damaging property and infrastructure. The Adams Township and Valencia Borough Stream and Floodplain Restoration Project along Breakneck Creek will help to minimize effects of stormwater flooding and siltation in downstream municipalities. The undersigned municipalities support Adams Township and Valencia Borough in their pursuit of grant funding in order to complete this project. And it went to Callery and Evans City and Zillionople and where else? Jackson Township, all these places to get signed. And it had attached the evaluation application that they're going to be using. I've signed it just to make you aware that we're part of it, and they're going to be looking for some funding to help us with our flood thing. And I sent it out for everybody so that you had it for your files and or for information. Also, I was given Evans City Natural Gas and Electric. This comes from Orion Williams, the Executive Vice President of Total Energy Resources. And he's got our name, and he thought it would be okay to reach out and to us concerning Evans City's natural gas and electricity purchasing. We, Total Energy Resources, are a natural gas supplier of People's Natural Gas and People's Natural Gas Equitable Systems, and also our very strong power relationships with many electric suppliers. With future pricing of both commodities sitting near or at all-time lows, I was hoping we could discuss Evans City's purchasing strategy and see if there was some opportunity for us to lower the Evans City's future costs. If you have some time in the near future for a phone conversation, please let me know and we can arrange your conference or arrange it at your convenience. He thanked us in advance of doing that. So I don't know exactly under which one this would be. I assume Finance Committee as well. But if they want to, defer to somebody else and let them get the process started, that would be fine too. What's everybody's thoughts?
This is Diana. This smacks of the kind of thing that I've experienced with people coming around to my door saying they can get me better rates, and then I'm locked in for a certain period and I can't get out of it, or there's this default charge. And I don't like that kind of thing. I would rather just pay the utility.
I've seen it both ways, Diana.
That's just me.
No, I've seen it both ways. The ones that come around to the homes, that definitely is what I have seen as well. They get to talking a good story and then you're like, fall for it and you're stuck. And I don't agree. But I've also seen it done, if I'm not mistaken, and Mr. Nelson can help me with that, where we've had people come in to the borough council and they gave us a better price on electricity and things like that, that it did bring some of our costs down, correct?
Many years ago, yes, we did it once that I can recall. I know we've had the gas company, other people come in here and try before, but we never went with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I get the feeling like Diana. It just bothers me that we already have the companies. We've had them for how many years? And like I said, somebody's come knocking at your door. But if we can look at the paperwork and see what the savings would be, and if it's not a 5-year contract or a 10-year contract, it's something to look at. But
Okay.
I don't want to say, yeah, you go ahead and we go do this, and you have to say even a 3-year contract, but it could be in there. The second year could go up, and the third year goes up, and we'd be paying more than what we would be paying now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we really got to look into it.
Okay. Well, then I will ask Beth to get the paperwork from him and let us look at the cost analysis over a 3-year period or whatever he's offering us to do. And then we can look at that at our agenda setting meeting whenever it comes in finally, whether it be for May or June. But
Do you guys know that we're already in a contract with someone for our electric?
Oh, that's what I was going to
Okay.
ask you when I got a chance. Is this who we're using now?
We are currently using a broker who is out of Grove City, and she has gotten us in with Next Era Energy. But that contract is over in August.
so we really have to start looking to see if we want to go. Does it look like it saved us any money in comparison to what it says on there for?
I think it's like 3 or 4 cents per kilowatt hour that we're saving. I think. I'm not 100% sure. I don't usually look at the price to compare from Penn Power.
Mhm.
I know that we're paying, I think it's 5 cents per kilowatt hour right now. And she requested our gas bills for to add those on too, but I haven't done that because that's not my job. But I think it was Lee that had put us on the last one, I believe.
I would like to chime in because they were looking at the park and said that we had wasted a lot of electricity because the bill had jumped so high. But here, they had signed a contract, which when it ended, it jumped up the price of electric so much that the park's bill actually doubled for the months of our highest peak.
Because you didn't cancel after that. Is that what you're saying?
The last council president did that. So, and then had said that we were wasting electric, having Night of Living Dead and that kind of thing over there, only to find out that it wasn't us, it was a whole rate. Whatever he had locked in for one of those companies, when it ended, it was supposed to be so good in the beginning, but when it ended, the price of that electric just tripled at the park.
Okay.
And to the fact that they were looking for electric that went to ground. Mr. Kennedy was over there a million times looking for, a short or something that we must be doing something.
I'd just like to restate that I think we should just pay the company we're with. You go home with the person what brung you.
I don't think a phone call would hurt to look at both sides of this story. This was sent to me by somebody from First Energy. And why would a First Energy gentleman be sending me something like this to save the borough money?
Well, like I said, we can get more information. I think that's what I'm hearing is, everybody's been burnt and we don't want that to happen here. But this may be a more reputable person and we may have a longevity thing. So we'll look at it from, as you said, Mayor, both sides and see what we get. And then we'll revisit, okay? Last but not least on my report here is the library had a meeting on Monday, April 20th, and they basically said that they needed to buy a computer for Mickey so that she can do some more work at home. She doesn't have a thing that works. She's going to look into paycheck protection programming being offered by the government to small businesses and nonprofits. The Slippery Rock Library have been approved for that, so she's thinking that we may be also. She's working on policy, cataloging and options. The books can be checked in and the bills paid, but shouldn't stay too long in the building. And the BCLS did receive state monies and it's being passed along. It's suggested that they meet in 2 weeks. I have not gotten anything else, so that's basically the end of their meeting. That's all I have. Okay, committees, HR.
I don't have anything. Do you, Brad?
No, I do not.
Finance.
I don't have anything there either. I do have one more question on the April bills. I'm sorry, I didn't put my little star by this, but I've just seen it since I've been listening to everyone. The secretary wage and contract buyout was almost $7,200.
Yes.
The figure I always heard was about 2,600.
Okay.
I put all of that together. I put the 2,500 from the contract buyout along with all of the bills that they had sent to pay me. It was just easier to go through and pay them all at the same time.
So that was all the wages and everything else too.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I can take those all apart and get that to you if you'd like.
No, just the only figure I ever heard was about 2,600, and when I saw that, I was like, "Whoa!" Okay.
Yes,
I did the same thing, Faye. So it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
it's a big number for sure.
Yeah, that's quite a jump.
Yes.
But that's why she just gave us the whole total figure of what she's cost us this far.
Yeah.
All righty.
but she has worked much harder than that.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Beth.
Thank you.
Mr. Nelson, you want to talk about streets? Because I know we
Yeah.
have another major project going on.
Well, I got other things too. The Harrison Street Bridge that they come out and to do the check for weight limit. I have not heard anything back from that company. I don't know if Beth has or not.
I have not.
Okay. So I think we're gonna have to contact them to find out what's going on with that. We did the street
Have we paid
sweeping.
them?
I'm sorry.
Have we paid them?
We have not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, it
That's
wasn't
good.
in the bills yet. Okay. Yeah, I looked at it. I didn't see it on there for this month. We have a situation up on Stewart Alley and Primrose Alley. The storm drains up there is nothing's working up there. The ditches are filling up constantly from a bank coming down, and we're flooding out a couple homes. So I went up and met with the street crew, and we looked at everything over there. I've talked to the homeowners, and the suggestion, and I talked with Jack and Mike, and they actually come up with a suggestion what to do there, and I think it's a very good idea. We need to install some culvert pipe up there and a catch basin, and to keep the water, well, put the pipe in the ditch. It keeps filling up because the bank keeps sliding. If we put pipe in there, it won't get plugged up. The pipe will be open to a catch basin to catch the other drains coming down the hill and to keep the water in the ditch line down below. So I told Jack and Mike to go ahead. We needed to get the pipe and to see about a catch basin if they can get the one the right size. They have to make a one call yet up there to make sure there's no sewers, gas lines, water lines, or anything is in the way where the catch basin is going to go. It's that's because there is a sewer right there, and I don't know how deep it is from the one homeowner. But to control this, take control of this problem up there for these people, this has to be done. I mean, water's constantly going into these people's houses when it rains real hard. And they're at the bottom of a hill, and this is above them. So,
Norm, can you say the street again, please?
it's on Stewart Alley and the intersection of Primrose Alley.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
So I told him go ahead and about to get the pipe in that and about the catch basin to get this taken care of. It's going to take a while. They went up and dug the ditch back out again to get everything out, but the bank keeps sliding down, filling it up. So this is the only way to really take care of that problem without flooding out people. So we did that. I believe that's actually all that I have since we already did the street sweeping, talked about the Harrison. Oh no, one more, I'm sorry. PennDOT, Corey Smith contacted Beth. I got his phone number. I've called him. He's going to be coming out, and we're going to be doing the measuring the streets about paving and tarring and chipping the streets. So he'll come out and measure everything. Nobody can go with him in a vehicle, and they're doing their safety thing. He's finally got approval to go out. So they'll take him out and measure the roads, and he'll set up the contracts to put it out for bidding. We'll get the packets here, and then we have to approve everything. We'll have to look at it first to make sure it's not over or too pricey that we can't afford it. So, but once we get him out here, he'll take care of that. And we'll have that for our agenda meeting so we can review it.
I have two things, just pieces of information.
Yep.
I think. Do we know anything about? And I'm not talking about streets. This is the library first.
Oh, okay.
Barb Jefferson wrote a letter to Father Gallagher asking to use the property, St. Matthias. Remember, Cherry?
Yes. And
I wrote a letter of support for that. She wants to lease it, and so I wrote a letter of support, and I'd just like to be able to send that. And I don't think it requires. Well, yeah, it would, because we would be responsible if we wrote a letter saying we as the borough would like you to honor this request by the library to use the property for a community garden. So maybe we could do something about that next month, I guess.
Yeah, we can do it that, or we can put it on a contingency that have Neva look at it to make sure that we're within our confines, and then approve it during, accepting her approval.
Okay. Okay. And final thing, just information. I've heard that there is, and I heard from the Economic Development Office, that out Franklin Road, there's a 90-acre piece of property that is being developed in an agro plan. It will be houses, cottages, carriage houses, that kind of thing. They will be, as far as I can understand, they'll do gardening and planting that is sustainable. That is, so if we're looking at this is couple years, 3 years down the road, but if we're looking at a farmer's market here in town, that sounds like a good way to go. And it also sounds like it will bring more residents to Evans City.
Which way on Franklin Road? Towards Cranberry or towards Prospect?
Towards Cranberry.
Okay.
And I don't know who the owner is. I was thinking it might be IFT.
90, they don't have 90 acres.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be a lot further out than that.
He couldn't think of the name.
I don't know. There's a big farm out there that could be it.
Yeah.
One out there. That could be it.
Whoever it is, the man has cancer and he's sighing.
Oh, it's a shame.
Yeah. So that's just general information.
Okay. All right. The two motions that I have to still get done. Is there any more for the streets first, Mr. Nelson?
No, that's it.
Okay. We need a motion to extend our declaration to June 30th of 2020 instead of May 31st. Do I have a motion that we move our declaration of disaster out to June 30th, and then we'll revisit if we have to in June?
I move that we extend the disaster resolution to the end of June.
All right, second.
And I'll second it.
It's been moved by Miss Diana and seconded by Mr. Nelson. All in favor say aye, Mr. Nelson.
Aye.
Mr. Brad.
Aye.
Miss Diana.
Aye.
Miss Fay.
Aye.
And me, aye. So there you go, Miss Neva, we're done. Do we need anything else or just have it in the minutes?
Nope, that's it.
I would like to say something.
Sure.
I think we need to send a letter of thank you to the Evans City Lions Club for all the support that they have given our commercial people, and for all the kindness that they have done in offering them different things to help get through this crisis, to make our community very worthwhile through it all.
Would you write that, Mr. Mayor, and we'll sign it?
Sure.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. The other thing too, Mr. Mayor, is possibly give them a citation as well from the borough for their good works that they've done in the future.
I think that should be presented in front of all of us, a citation.
I agree. But well, it may have to wait a while till we're open.
Right, absolutely. I understand that, yes.
Okay. The other motion I have is that, how do I want to put it? That the letter to the library upon review from Neva, that if she gives the okay, it can be sent in regards to the support of the library to St. Matthias. How's that? That's pretty all of it.
I make a motion that we write a letter to Father Gallagher asking to allow the library to use the property on St. Matthias as a community garden.
Yes, via Neva's, approval.
Subject to Neva's decision
Yes,
regarding the appropriateness of that.
yes.
Just call
I
it a
agree.
legal review, subject to legal review, Beth.
Subject to legal review.
I'll second.
Okay. Another new verbiage that we get to get. All right, legal review, Miss Borough Beth.
Okay, got it.
All right. All in favor, Mr. Nelson,
Aye.
Mr. Brad,
Aye.
Miss Fay,
Aye.
Miss Diana,
Aye.
of course, and I say aye. Thanks, Neva.
Who seconded that?
Faye,
They
Fay,
did? Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
you're welcome.
you're welcome. Any new and unfinished business? I have for us to discuss, oh, brother. For our agenda meeting, the electric company, info, the Pliget account, a little bit more. I don't know why I have borough intent with flood, but something like that. Also, I have information that this time last year in 2019, we had received $188,458 in taxes. This year in 2020 at the same date, we have received 176,766, but Ms. Wilda thinks that we're going to make that up because she still hasn't gotten in all the mail from April 30th. That will be postmarked April 30th yet. So she thinks that we'll make up that back part. Okay?
Mhm.
So that's the other piece of information I have. Anybody have anything else for the agenda setting meeting?
We're gonna talk about PennDOT.
Oh, yes. PennDOT and streets. I know the boys have been doing a lot of ditching and things like that. I don't know if it's time to think about an extra person on there or not, but we're getting to that time, not only to get somebody for the summer to paint and do those kind of things, but we may be looking at an extra person to help with the ditching and get us ready for some of the projects that are coming down. So that's something else that we have to think about for the streets.
Okay.
Anything else? Guess not. And with that, then I guess our last thing is we do not have to go to executive session, do we?
Not so far as I know.
No.
I don't have any either. Then I would entertain a motion that we adjourn the meeting at 8:43 p.m.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, it's been made by Fay, second.
Second, I second we adjourn.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Lubinowski. It's been seconded by Mr. Brad. All in favor? You can leave the meeting.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Good night.
Good
Be
night.
safe.
Night. Bye, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
Wouldn't allow me to unmute myself there. Thank you.
Who else do we have here? Whoa, goodness gracious.
All right. Okay, I'm just going to end it.
All
All
right.
right. Bye,
Bye.
guys.
I don't know where I am to have to, oh, here's the button to